Wednesday, August 26th, middle of the week, almost halfway through. Just another day closer to Friday, and another day closer to you guys getting to actually be back in the classroom, to my virtual people. Hopefully so far everything's been going smooth. Hopefully today's Fantastic Five went well. Hopefully we saw those scores go up. That's the whole goal. So hopefully the videos have helped. And I think this video will probably be helpful to a lot of people because you hadn't seen a double bar graph before, I don't think, like you have seen just now in your Fantastic Five that you did. So you may be confused on a couple of questions. So I'm happy to go over them here. And if something is still not clear to you, a couple things. One, you can Zoom with me, you can email me. But two, your mini lesson is actually going to be all about double bar graphs today. So you're going to get extra practice with that as well. And it's not going to be, today's not the only time you're going to see it. You'll see it a little bit next week as well. But we're going to go ahead and get it cracking here. Did I pull it up? I don't think I did. Boom, I'm hoping you can see this. All right, so back here, we've got the same double bar graph for each. Yesterday, you looked at frequency tables, just like a tally chart, and you talked about or learned about how you can take that data and show it in a different way. You can put that data in a bar graph, okay? Well, you could have two frequency charts, put that into two different bar graphs, but then to show that in one bar graph, you just put them together. So to be considered a bar graph or a double bar graph, we talked about the couple things you have to have. Got to have your title, which if you look at this, it says the money spent by different shoppers at Walmart and Target. So down here, you've got your shoppers, John, Mike, Sarah, Allison, and Sue. And this scale over on the side represents how much money was spent by each shopper. And if you look at the scale, they're counting by 20s. The new thing that you're introduced to, and this is the first thing you're going to want to look at every time you got a double bar graph, you got the key over here to the right. And the key is super important because if you don't read it, if you don't read the question carefully and you don't look at the key, you're going to miss it. Any bar that's blue represents Walmart. Any bar that represents red is Target, which seems pretty self-explanatory. But you're going to read questions where it's talking about both stores with different shoppers, and you've got to really look and know what colors you're looking at, and you'll see that in a couple questions. Very first day, we talked about numerical or categorical data. If it's asking you how much money you spent, $100, $20, $200 if you're my wife, that's going to be numerical data. So looking at our very first question, it says, which shopper spent $70 at Target? Guys, it's important because you can't just look at the number 70, go over and pick the first one because, and we looked at this on the bar graph yesterday, you don't see 70 over here, but if you're counting by 20s, halfway between 60 and 70 or 60 and 80 is going to give me 70 because 10 more. So if I'm looking at just shoppers that spend 70, luckily for this question, there is only one, and that would be Sarah. And I know she spent it at Target because her bar is red. So if I go down, Sarah would be our answer for that one. So look at your key for every single question, even if you know the colors. It says, how much money did John spend total? So the key is not super important on this one. It's really just making sure you're looking at the right dude. John right here, how much money did he spend? Well, he spent, let me get my marker up. John spent $80 at Walmart, boom, and he spent in between 80 and 100 at Target. Again, they're counting by 20s. It goes halfway in between. Half of that 20 is going to give me to 10, so that number between 80 and 100 would be $90. Starting in the ones place, 0 plus 0 is 0. Tens place, 8 plus 9 gives me 17 for a total of $170, which would have been D. So far, nothing crazy with the double bar graph. Those were probably pretty good. And then it says here, how much money did Allison spend at Target? Again, if you don't look at the key here, there might be an answer choice that somebody would pick. So looking at the answer choices, you say this out loud, talk to yourself. What do you think somebody who missed it might have chosen on this question? How much money did Allison spend at Target? So if they didn't look at the key, they might have chose 40. They might have just said, ooh, Allison, blue bar, 40, but that's Walmart. Now, if they didn't look at the scale correctly, they could have very easily chosen 85, because I think in yesterday's bar graph, it might have been a scale of counting by 5s or 10s. But if you look right here, again, that bar is halfway in between 80 and 100. 85 is not halfway between those two, like we just talked about. 90 would have been halfway between those two, which would have given us C. So number 4, this is the question I was talking about at the beginning. Now you're looking at only one shopper, but you got to figure out the different bars. Okay, it says how much more money did Sue spend at Target than Walmart? All right, so how much more is the same thing as how many more, guys. Same keywords is going to tell you to subtract. So if I'm looking at Sue, get my marker, she spent $100 at Target, and then you got to know your scale is halfway in between 60 and 80. She spent $70 at Walmart. Supposed to be a subtraction sign. And then we're just going to subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 7, can't do it. More on the floor. Got to go next door and get 10 more. So this one is now a 0, and this 0 becomes a 10. And then you can just knock it out. 10 minus 7, you get a 3, which would be $30, which would be A. Last but not least, if I can get that off, boom. The most money was spent at which store? Now, a couple of different ways you could have done this. There is an easy way, there's a hard way. If you do it the hard way, there's going to be benefits to that because the easy way is not going to work out every single time. Honestly, you could just look at this double bar graph and you can see that John spent more at Target, Mike spent more at Target, Sarah spent more at Target, Allison spent more at Target, and Sue spent more at Target. Every single one of them spent more money at Target. So you automatically know Target had the most money. That's going to be the answer. But sometimes you're going to have bars that kind of fluctuate and it doesn't work every time. So what you might want to do is, well, let me see how much money got spent at Walmart and let me see how much money got spent at Target. That's going to help you in the long run because you'll have to do that more often than the easy way. So let's just start with Walmart. John spent $80. Mike spent $80. I'm going to go ahead and add those together. 0 plus 0 gives me 0. 8 plus 8 gives me 16. All right, Sarah spent $60. So I'll add the 60 to their total. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1 over. 2. Who was that? Sarah. All right, and then Allison spent $40. That puts them at $260. And Sue spent in between $60 and $80, which is going to put her at $70. So at Walmart, you spent a total of $330. Then I could do the same thing with Target. John spent $90 at Target. Mike spent $100 at Target. So we know that's going to give us $190. Sarah spent $70. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 7 is 16. 1 plus 1 is 2. So that puts them at $260 so far. Allison spent $90. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 6 is 15. Carry the 1 gets me to 350. And guys, you could go ahead and stop right there because you see, without even looking at Sue's total, that Target has had already $20 more spent. So that answer, again, which we already knew, would be Target. It's just nice to see a couple of different ways to get to do that. And one thing you'll hear me say a bunch this year is it's not my way or the highway. There are so many ways that you're going to be able to solve math questions this year. Sometimes you'll see a way that I do it and you'll say, oh, that's pretty helpful. Sometimes you'll look at a question or look at a way that I do something and you'll say, well, the way I do it's a lot easier for me. If you're more comfortable doing it a certain way, if you're getting the right answer, I'm not going to complain as long as you're working hard. So that is Wednesday's Fam 5. You got 2 more chances. Really, Thursday's like the last little warm-up that you get because Friday's the one that counts. Friday's the quiz. Friday's the day that we want you to be really on top of your game. So let's keep improving. If you're getting 5s, let's keep crushing it. Thank you guys to my virtual people for working hard. And even if you're not a virtual person, if you're watching these to get better, that's awesome. We're going to keep pumping these videos out and keep grinding. Thank you guys for watching.